Hey, UniHill Church family, I hope you're going really well. I've got an important update for our church in regards to what the timeline is and potentially what it's going to look like as we begin to regather together. So I want to ask you to give me grace. I've written a ream of notes that I'm going to look at because I want to make sure that I don't miss anything. So here we go. I want to start by saying that April and I have been praying for you, and we've been overwhelmed with joy seeing the resilience and the Spirit-led church that we get to lead in this season. It's been phenomenal seeing the emergence of our Zoom Connect groups. We have so many Connect groups throughout our community as we continue through them to care for one another and pray for one another. I've also been overwhelmed with seeing the love for God and sacrifice that our teams and our staff have made. I look at our UniHill Kids program and how wonderful that's been online. I think of the sacrifice of our worship team. Church, I've got to let you know that they gather here on Saturdays for a very long day consistently in order that they film the beautiful and wonderful services that we are able to experience together. They've made incredible sacrifice. There's been the Alpha team. There's been many, many leaders in our community that have made great sacrifice in this season for God in order that we continue to flourish and have an impact as a community. I want to say from the bottom of my heart, and April's too, thank you for the sacrifice and service that you make to God. I also want to thank our community broadly for your generosity. It's been incredible. Our giving has not slowed at all. It's been phenomenal to see that we've been able to continue to give both internationally and nationally with our missional giving, as well as locally, our community pantry in the east and our Hope Pantry, one box in the north. We have not only continued to give essentials such as fruit and vegetables and dairy and bread in this season, but in fact, it's more than doubled. It's grown by more than 100%, and it continues to do so. This has been through the generosity of people giving financially and the generosity of people giving of their time in order to serve God and love people. It's been a phenomenal season. But I want to say this. This is my opinion. As much as online church is fantastic, to me, it does not beat gathering together as we come together to worship God, come around His word. It doesn't beat being in person. I can't lie to you. After every service on a Sunday morning, the service is finished and I sit there in my lounge room and I go, I can't believe I can't connect with people or see people, but this is the season that we've been in. However, as the restrictions begin to lift, things are beginning to change. Now, I want to ask that you remain to give us grace. You have to remember that in this season, it has to remain fluid based off what the government believes is safe for us to do. We know that we regularly see updates from our Prime Minister, Scott Morrison, as well as our state Premier, Daniel Andrews. Now, what can happen is, depending on how these guys feel is best for us, situations can change. So at the moment, I'm giving you an update based off what we are expecting to happen and based off what we know today, but it may change, and we will align with what the government believe is safe for us to do so. So before we gather together, let me tell you about what the leadership and the eldership of our community have been planning. I want to start by saying this. We as a leadership take your physical and spiritual health very seriously. So because of that, we have been making protocols and plans to make sure that as a community, when we regather, we do it to the best possible standard we can in order to protect the safety and health of our community. So what we've actually done is we have gone on a sanitizer hunt. We have got an incredible engagement of that. They're going to be hanging on walls. They're going to be highly available and regularly available as we encourage you to do that. We're also going to be putting clear direction for people flow in and out of our building, because that's not only required, but it helps reduce risk. We're also going to be registering every person that joins our services in whatever room and whatever location that you join us with. The reason for this is we have to be able to do contact tracing if need be. So you have to be prepared when you join us in person to leave us with your details. We're required to keep those for a period of time, and then we will treat it confidentially unless we're required for contact tracing in order to protect our community. As well as there will be deep cleaning pre and post every service. In fact, there will be cleaning done pre and post whenever the building is used. We are doing all of these things to protect the safety of our people and minimize the risk of the spread of this pandemic and this illness as much as possible. So, what is that going to mean, and what does that look like for our community? Well, at the moment, we are anticipating regathering together in late July. Now, we are going to ask that you continue to give us grace, and we will continue to update you regularly. But at the moment, we are looking around the 26th of July. There is a reason for that, which I'll explain in a moment. But what we are going to be doing is, after you've seen this email, there is going to actually be a survey at the bottom of this email. We want you to fill in these surveys, because what it is that if you are vulnerable and you are coming, we want to know so that we can prepare. If you are a family and you are wanting to come, we want to know so that we can prepare, because we don't want to have to send people away, because what it is going to happen is the services are going to look a bit different, because the auditoriums won't be as full as what they once were, because we now need to, and we anticipate to go by the 4 metre square rule. That may change, but at the moment, that is what we are planning for. We will be following the guidelines of our state government very closely. But what that means is we can't fit as many people in the building as we used to, and we don't want to have to send you away. We don't want to have to tell you to come back later. So if you can fill in the survey, it's going to help us know that you're planning to attend, when you're planning to attend, so that we can cater for you safely and properly. So let me explain to you about what the services are going to look like. In our east location in Box Hill, we're going to continue to gather at 10 a.m. Because of the size of the building, because of the multiple different rooms in the building, and because of the size of our community in the east at present, we are more than available and more than safe to gather at our normal time of 10 a.m. We'll still be taking your registration. We'll still be providing sanitizer. It will be all the same, but we have enough room there to cater for our whole community in the one service time, which is 10 a.m. So we're going to continue to do that as we always have. However, in the north, in our Bandura location, it will look different. And this is why it's important for our North family to communicate. We will be having 3 different services. We're going to be having a 9 a.m. service. Now, the 9 a.m. service is going to be for the vulnerable or only. Now, you'll know if you're vulnerable. If you're vulnerable, according to the education that we've been given, we know that that is determined by your age. So it's for the more mature people in our community. It's also determined by comorbidities. If you have other illnesses that cause you to be at higher risk, this service is for you. Yeah, you could have immune suppression. You could have high blood pressure. You may be obese. You're welcome. We are providing a vulnerable services. That is going to be at 9 a.m. We want you to let us know if you're coming. Then we're going to be having what is a families service. Now, at the vulnerable service at 9 a.m., there is no kids program. We don't want children to come. We need to be protecting the vulnerable. However, we will be having an 11 a.m. program. The 11 a.m. service is for everybody in our community that's lower risk. There will be a kids program. However, the kids will be signed in upstairs straight away. This will be for our broader community. It's going to be fantastic. We're going to have the auditorium. We will have an overflow room available if need be, because we need to have within the auditorium the ability to have the social spacing as well as the 4 metre square rule. So we're working hard on that, and we will also be having a 5 p.m. service. I'm going to call this service fortnightly, but it will be as need be. All 3 services will be the same because we're one community. All 3 services will be a time length of around 45 minutes to an hour as we keep the services tight, because the less time together, the more that we can reduce risk. So these are the service times for the North that we anticipate to do so. Now, you may be watching this and think, Charles, that's great. However, because of my risk, I'm still not comfortable to come. I want to say this to you. There's such great wisdom. And I want to let you know that you are still vitally important to our community. And we still will be providing our service online for you. So if you feel uncomfortable to be here, or you don't think it's the wisest thing to be here, we will still have our online service. Now, the flexibility is this. You need to remember now moving forward that if you wake up on a Sunday morning and you are not well, stay home and connect with our community via our online service. We take your physical health and your spiritual health vitally important and very seriously. So I want to encourage you, this is an update. Please give us grace. We've never been down this road before. We will keep you as informed as possible. But if you stayed with me to the end of this announcement, thank you. Could I ask that you now, after watching this, just take the 5 minutes or so to fill in the survey so that we can be as prepared as possible to care for you. I'm excited because I believe that what's happened in this season is our church and that church in general has not taken a step backwards, but actually a step forward. We've created a means to create community and connect with one another in a new way. But however, gathering together is vitally important. I believe in this season, it's narrowed our focus down to what it needs to be. We gather together to encourage one another, strengthen one another, and then send one another out into our communities where we can be an influence for Jesus Christ. I'm excited. I believe that we are moving into a special God-appointed, God-anointed season, and I can't wait. And I know that April and I both can't wait to see you again in person. Please feel free to email us with any questions. And you know what? If your questions are relevant and I believe will work for our broader community, I'll put another video up. We'll send another email out. We want to keep the communication lines with you open so that people feel safe, they're ready to come in, and they're prepared to be here as we gather together in person. We love you. Can't wait to see you and hear your amens and be with you as we pray together rather than spending time with you at home, which has been a wonderful season, but can't wait to be together.